Bonjour tout le monde. Today we're learning about the imparfait and the passé composé and when you're going to use each one when talking in the past. So first we know our passé composé is for completed past actions. We have our auxiliaire and our participe passé. Some examples: elle a parlé français avec l'homme. Ils ont déménagé à Apex il y a 2 ans. So elle a parlé, she spoke French to the guy. Happened one time, completed. Ils ont déménagé à Apex. They moved to Apex. It happened one time and it was completed. The imparfait, we've learned, can be used for descriptions, background details, continuous actions. An example: quand j'étais jeune, j'aimais le Pokémon. When I was young, I liked Pokemon. Okay, we're talking about descriptions, background details, and continuous past actions because these are both actions that happen for an extended period of time. Elle portait une longue robe noire. She was wearing a long black dress. This is a description of what she was wearing, a background detail about who she is and what she's like. Il faisait nuageux pendant toute la journée hier. Il faisait nuageux. This is a description of the weather. Weather is almost always going to be in the imparfait. So even though we know that this happened only yesterday, because it is a description, that's going to be more important and we'll use the imparfait. So which one? Oftentimes it's kind of challenging to determine which one you're going to use. Sometimes you can ask yourself these questions. What happened? That would be the Passé Composé. If it was an action that happened and it progressed the plot of a story, that's going to be the Passé Composé. What was going on? What the background information was, background detail, that's going to be in the imparfait. So let's take a look deeper at all of these. First, with actions. We can have incomplete or complete actions when we're talking about a story. So the imparfait is going to explain what was happening with no indication of when or if it even ended. That's an incomplete action. J'étais à l'école. I was at school. I didn't say I was at school for an hour. I didn't say anything about when it was happening. So just going to use the imparfait here. Je faisais mes devoirs. I was doing my homework. I didn't say how long you were doing it. I didn't say even if you finished it. No reference to time or completion, so that's the imparfait. When we're talking about completed actions, we're going to use the passé composé. These are actions that happened and progressed the plot of the story, and oftentimes they'll have a time, a reference time. Donc, je suis arrivé tôt. I arrived early. You arrive and you're done. That can't be a continuous action. J'ai fini mes devoirs. I finished my homework. The fact that you finished them means that they were done, and that's it. One-time action. Continuing with actions, we can have uncounted actions and counted actions. So if you don't know when the action happened or when it ended, if you don't know how many times it happened, this is an uncounted action. A lot of times this will happen with our habitual actions, our actions that happen repeatedly over time. It will also happen with actions that happen multiple times. We're just not told how many. So, j'étudiais le lundi. I used to study on Mondays. Okay, étudier is going to be in the imparfait because we have le lundi. I didn't say toi lundi. I said le lundi. So every Monday I used to study. We were not told when that ended, or even if it did end. So we're going to use the imparfait. Je perdais constamment mon livre. I was always losing my book. So I wasn't told how many times the book was lost. I wasn't told if that even ended, if they don't lose their book anymore. Also, we use the word constamment, which means that it's a repetitive action. It's a habitual action. Constantly, this person was losing their book. So that's going to be the imparfait. The passé composé expresses what happened a specific number of times or at a defined time. So, j'ai étudié lundi. Taking away the le means that we're talking about just Monday. This last Monday I studied. It's a specific Monday, and you know it just happened that one Monday. J'ai perdu mon livre hier. The fact that we have the word hier means that it happened yesterday. I lost my book yesterday. Voilà. Passé composé. So with states of being or feelings, if we have an existing state of being, so if we're just talking about a state of being, so that's a description of somebody or that's how they're feeling, that's going to be the imparfait. It's an ongoing state of being and an existing feeling. Most often, feelings, things that are from the heart or from the head, are going to be in the imparfait. So, j'aimais l'école, I liked school. That's a heart action. J'étais toujours inspiré par mes profs. I was always inspired by my teachers. Not only do we have toujours, that means that it happened for an extended amount of time. It was always that you were inspired, so that would be the imparfait. Also, it's describing the state of being inspired. So, être, a lot of times, is going to be in the imparfait because it makes sense that it's a state of being. Now, the only time you will have feelings or states of being in the Passé Composé is if we show a change in a state of being. So here we had j'aimais l'école, I liked school. But here we have, in this moment, I hated school. En ce moment, j'ai détesté l'école. Because prior to that, you were liking school, this is a change in a state of being, is a change in a feeling. So it would be in the Passé Composé. J'étais toujours inspiré par mes profs. I was always inspired by my teachers. Suddenly here, I was inspired by his success, this person's success, okay? With this word soudainement, it was boom, suddenly. Prior to that, I wasn't inspired by this person's success, but now suddenly I am inspired. I was inspired by his success. If we're talking about the details of a story, any kind of background information is going to use the imparfait, so descriptions. And then any events that progress the plot of the story is going to be in the passé composé. So, j'étais à l'école quand, I was at school when the passé composé interrupted the action and il a commencé à pleuvoir. J'essayais d'étudier, mais mon ami m'a posé une question. So these activities, these verbs are setting up the background. So I was studying, I was at school. And then the starting to rain is an action that interrupted the being at school. It happened. It's an action that progresses the plot. Or when I was trying to study, my friend asked me a question. It interrupted the action. And these are actions that progress the plot of the story. We're just not learning about the story. We're actually seeing what's happening. Also in the imparfait, we'll have verbs that have the car and the tête. So le car would be aimer, vouloir, craindre, désirer, souhaiter, sentir, se sentir, adorer, détester. And la tête, croire, and penser. You can also remember that details like the weather will use the imparfait as well. Here's some helpful vocabulary for figuring out which one you're going to use. You're going to want to pause this and copy these down. These are all imparfait, and these are all passé composé. And then last, you have your à bouffer. Please choose which conjugation of the verb you want, depending on whether you want to use the passé composé or the imparfait. Okay? À bientôt!